We are going to continue our player predictions for the 2023 season, and today we're going to be covering Isabelle Harrison and Dana Evans, two players who at least we hope, are both going to be big part of the Chicago Sky success in the 2023 season. We're going to do all that, plus go around the WNBA for news right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
All right, Sky fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central. If you want to follow me, you can do so right off the top at CEO Haize, that's CEO Haize. And thank you so much for being the best part of the channel. Now, before we get into the Chicago Sky specifics, we're going to talk about and go around the WNBA to look at the news. And first off, let me apologize. I know the plan was to give you guys 2 episodes a week in the offseason, but it's just been quiet. It's been honestly quiet. Outside the Athletes Unlimited tournament, it's really just been a quiet time around the WNBA. There was so much news to kind of start off the offseason that it's just completely tapered off, and probably will continue to do so until training camps open here, I think towards the end of the month. But other than that, let's get into the WNBA news. And so first up, the Sparks have waived Chennedy Carter after just having her for 1 season. And Chennedy Carter's career has kind of been the exact thing that we talk about around how difficult it is for even high first-round picks in the WNBA to really crack through. She was the 4th overall pick in 2020, and despite having a really great season when you look at for a rookie in 2020, 17.4 points per game, 3.4 assists, 2.3 rebounds, and then, she only played 16 games, though, because of injury. In 2021, she was suspended halfway through the season because of contact detrimental to the team, and then she was traded to the Sparks in 2022 and had averages of 8.9 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.9 assists, with only 16.4 minutes played per game for the Sparks, one of the lowest marks on that team. And then, she also had a knee injury. She had COVID at one point in time. So it's, for Chennedy Carter, despite the early promise and potential that she showed, it's just been a difficult go for her in the WNBA. And so we'll see, keep her uplifted in spirits. She definitely has the talent, right? I don't think there's many questions as is she going to be able to do enough, find the right role, and stay healthy to be able to contribute to the WNBA team. But we're going to keep our hopes up. Now, in more positive news around the WNBA, the Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu has her first signature Nike shoe. And this shoe honestly, this is something my daughter would wear. And I even asked my daughter about it after seeing it, and she was like, yeah, I would absolutely wear those. And so, shout out, there's only been 12 WNBA players to have a signature shoe. Even players that have had them, for example, like Della Don, after having her first shoe, kind of disappeared. Candace Parker had her first shoe and then didn't get her second shoe until a decade later with Adidas. So this is a rarity for WNBA players. And, shout out to Sabrina for getting it. And hopefully the shoe sells. Hopefully she does get a second signature shoe more sooner than some of the other players from around the WNBA that have had their own signature shoe. And, like I said, not necessarily something that I would wear, but I don't think I'm the market for it. But definitely after I showed my 14-year-old daughter the shoe and she was like, no, those are fire. Shout out to her on that one. So, we'll see. We want more success. We want to grow the W. And this is absolutely something that can help grow the W. And so, shout out to Sabrina for getting that. Hopefully Chicago Sky player will eventually get their own shoe. Can we get Kalia Copper her own shoe? I think Kalia Copper deserves her own shoe. Let's get her to win an MVP. Then we need to get her own shoe. But, moving on from that, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode and what we're really here to discuss. And that is the player projections that we're doing for the 2023 season. And while let me just preface this isn't to predict their stats or anything like that. It's more so to look at what they did last season and then predict kind of how their role is going to be and what kind of the expectations are. We don't really predict, hey, we need to go out and get 14 points per game, because we just haven't seen this team play together and see how what roles everybody's going to fit into. But Isabelle Harrison is who we're starting off with today. And so Isabelle had averages last year of 8.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game, and 0.7 steals per game. And while that's not anything that jumps out the stat sheet at you, if you've watched her play, you know that she didn't really get a lot of opportunities in the offense, and she more so was used as a forward/center who came in and absolutely did her job, but she wasn't really featured in the offense. And that's kind of the thing for both these players that we're talking about today. Is these are two players that I think that will benefit from increased roles. When you look at Isabelle Harrison, for example, she only averaged 7.1 shots per game last season. She hit those on a 46% clip. She did only take 2 3-pointers last season and hit 100% of those. Actually, over her career, though, she's 3 for 4 She's 3 for 14 from 3-point range for her career. So that's something to look out for there. She's not really a 3-point shooter. But the thing that has given me some hope, or not hope, but like just in how she plays, she shoots a better percentage after every quarter that goes by. So she shoots a better percentage in the second quarter than the first quarter, shoots a better percentage in the third quarter than the second quarter, and shoots a better percentage in the fourth quarter than any of them. She's a 51% shooter in third quarters and a 54% shooter in fourth quarters. Now, that does, again, you do have to preface that by saying she just hasn't gotten the type of shots or the amount of shots that some players that are starters get in the WNBA. But the fact that she does hit those shots at a high clip when the game is on the line and down the stretch, she gets better, meaning she gets more selective with those shots. It bodes well for her, right? And then when you look at her, like most of her shots right now come from 8 feet or less from the rim. She's actually a 46% shooter in that 8 feet. I'm sorry, a 56% shooter in that 8 feet area. So what that means for Isabelle Harrison and the role that she's going to play on this team. Let's not forget, she gets a high rebounding rate. Actually, her plus minuses on the court last year for her team, the team rebounded 76% of the available defensive rebounds when she was on the court. That's a huge number. That's not anything to just overlook or take for granted there. Isabelle Harrison, while not a player that's been featured on the offense, we don't know if she's going to be featured in this offense, especially with the lion's shares of the shots going to Marina Mabrey, Chennedy Carter, and then, we'll see how that works out for everybody else. But she is coming to a team that needs her skill set, especially scoring at the rim. The Chicago Sky were one of the best teams at getting to the rim last season. And so if that's going to be continued to be James Wade's play style with this team, Isabelle Harrison is going to be able to slide in really well with that. The 4.3 rebounds kind of concerns me there. But again, if you know that team that she played on, it's not as straightforward as what it would seem. But she's going to have an opportunity. She's coming from that Dallas Wings team. She's going to be able to ball out. She has some familiarity with players on this team already. And if you've seen her over in the Athletes Unlimited tournament, you know that this woman can ball. Like, that's just flat out. She can ball. She has a knack for getting to the ball. She gets loose balls. She guards the rim very well as also. She doesn't necessarily always get a huge number of blocks. She's only averaged a half a block per game over her career, but she is good at changing the trajectory of shots, meaning that if you're coming to the rim, you think you're going to get a wide open lay, she's able to do some things that stop that shot from being as easy for you. So those type of things are things that you can look positively for her to come to the Chicago Sky. I think she's going to have a defined role. I do look for the guards to make sure that they keep her involved in that offensive side of the game. While I don't think she may not get a huge more amount of shots than what she got, you have to look at who she's coming in and replacing. She's playing forward. We already lost Candace Parker, Iman Mieseman, who were key factors for that Chicago Sky team. Azura Stevens is also gone. So Isabelle Harrison may come in and be asked to do more than what she's been done before, and how she responds to that is really going to be telling over the type of season that she is going to have. So, that's something that we're looking for as well from her. I want to see her grow her game. I want to see her step up and see how she responds with that added pressure, with that added role on the team. She's going to have a role. And James Wade even said in the introductory press conference just how important having her in and how she's able to score at the rim. Then when you look at the fact that Marina Mabrey, who's going to be a starter as well, already has familiarity with Isabelle Harrison, and Courtney Williams has talked about it before. Isabelle Harrison also has talked about how familiar she already is with Chennedy Carter. So this team, and if they come together and if they use her correctly and she's able to step into a role and do a little bit more than what she's done before, and she responds to that larger role, I think we got a heck of a steal in Isabelle Harrison. I think she's going to play pretty good for the Chicago Sky in that first year. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at. Don't really want to see her shoot a high volume of threes, but I will say this. I don't think she's going to be reluctant if open three-pointers comes in the flow of the offense for her, and if she can extend her game, not necessarily be like a high-volume three-point shooter, but if she can take and hit a high percentage of the open threes that may come to her naturally, it can really open up her game and the game for the Chicago Sky as well. All right, let's get into this next player that we're going to talk about, and that is Dana Evans. And so this is a player that, depending on who you ask, depending on whatever, you may get a completely different view and opinion on how Dana Evans is as a player. And the fact of the matter is, her WNBA career so far has not left very much to really be able to fairly evaluate her skill level. She just hasn't gotten many opportunities. Now, I understand to a degree, especially the first year she came to the Chicago Sky, we were on a championship, what ended up being a championship run. She still did play in a lot of games for the Sky, but she didn't really play in a lot of minutes. So when you look at Dana Evans and what she could mean, and her skill set, right? And we can talk about her stats last season. She did play in 33 games for the Sky last season. She started in one of those games. She had averages of 4.3 points per game, 0.8 rebounds, 1.2 assists, which that assist number with the minutes that she played, the fact she only averaged 11 minutes says that there's definitely a passer in there. And if you've watched her overseas, you know that this woman can pass and score the ball. But she just hasn't been given the opportunity. And whether you blame James Wade for that, maybe you look at her and say, well, what aren't you doing in practice that is really giving you the opportunity or earned you the opportunity to play in games? You got to look at Dana Evans and just realize that this woman can flat out put the ball in the basket. If you look at her overseas, she's had scoring performances of 39 points, 29 points, 33 points. And while it's a different level of competition in overseas basketball, regardless, some would even say that maybe the competition is a little bit better, but I ain't gonna say that. But if you have watched her and been able to see what she does when she actually is given an opportunity in a role and time to just go through things, and she's scoring these points without taking necessarily a lot of shots. So she has it in her to be a high volume score and efficient scorer. It's just, is James Wade going to use her in that role? You would think with everything that we lost from the Chicago Sky this offseason that it would propel Dana Evans, especially somebody who's been here, been in the system, to take over a larger role. But I just don't know, man. Her shooter percentages aren't bad in the WNBA either. You look at her shooting the ball 37% from the field overall, 32% from three-point range on 3.9 shots per game. Come on. This woman can score. And so hopefully, regardless of what, she's going to get more shots this season. Let's hope. Let's hope she comes in and she earns a bigger opportunity and James Wade plays her in that bigger opportunity, because I tell you what, for a team that went out and got a lot of players, but not a lot of those players are scorers, when you look at Rebecca Gardner and her ability to score, even though she's not a scorer either, and you have Dana Evans coming off that bench, and she is a flat out scorer, and hopefully is going to be one of your better guards and one of your first guards off the bench this season. Dana Evans can ball. And, I can go into my whole little tangent on what I think and the role there that she should have and things like that. But at the end of the day, if James Wade doesn't see it for her, it's going to be a tall test for her to kind of come out of that. But you look at right now, we have a lot of guards on the team, but not a lot of guard depth, right? Courtney Williams, probably going to be a starter for us. Kalia Copper is listed as a guard, but she's going to be our starting small forward more than likely. Marina Mabry is going to be a starting guard for us as well. And so when you look at that, it's really going to come down to how you see Dana Evans playing for this team. Rebecca Gardner, is she going to play small ball forward as well? Is she going to play some guard for us? So we have guards on this team, but I'm still looking at the potential of Dana Evans with her age and how young she still is. If you can grow and develop her and what she's already showed overseas for her propensity to score, it can really open up the game for the Sky. And I think that would be best for the team overall. But again, I'm just a guy sitting here in his home studio talking about his favorite WNBA teams. But, we'll see. Overall, in my predictions for Dana Evans, I just want to see an increased role. I don't care about the number of shots right now. I don't care about the number of points she scores per game. Right now, it's just an increased role, increased opportunity. And then what does she do with that opportunity? And hopefully she earns that from James Wade, because I do think we can potentially have a diamond here in Dana Evans, even if she's just and keep in mind, I'll say this as well. She's not a slouch on defense. Sometimes she gets lost off ball. I will say that, but she's not a slouch on defense, but she has what could potentially be a one great skill in being able to score the ball, put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, shoot the ball. I just want to see it used and utilized better for the Chicago Sky team that is going to need as much talent as they can get. You guys can let me know what you think on it down below. If you agree with me, disagree with me, do you think I'm off my rocker wanting Dana Evans to have a bigger role on this team? Do you agree with me, right? Do you think that James Wade is missing something, not playing Dana Evans more? Let me know. I'll tell you how you can get all that in, but you can follow the show. Start there at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform that we're on. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail to give your opinions on any of these predictions or the Sky season overall, The number to do so, 773-270-2799. And don't forget, if you're buying Sky tickets this season, use the promo code Haize, that's my name, Haize, to get a little discount off those tickets. But that's it for me for today. I'll see you guys the next time we go to Skytown. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.